Hello and welcome to Inside Nigeria. My job this morning is to read to you major stories from different newspapers. And once I'm done with the stories, we will hand over to the studio for details on the stories. My name is Tion Joseph, your regular host. I begin today's show with Leadership newspaper. On the front page of Leadership this morning, the lead story says 2023 polls. INEC, EFCC, police, others move against vote buying. PMB has assured me of free, fair elections, says article. My administration will be work-friendly. Tinubu occupies conviction attempt to implicate me, says Obi. That is the report we have on the front page of Leadership newspaper. But of course, you can always get more stories on our website. You just need to hop on to www.leadership.ng and you will be served. Having said that, let's look at the Punch. And the list story on the Punch this morning says rising attacks, vote buying threaten polls. INEC cries out. The first bullet says commission says violence may mar election, prevent presidential poll winner from emerging. Electoral body plans supplementary budget to replace destroyed buildings, equipment, others. IG, EFCC boss warn politicians against inducement. Survey puts 33 states on vote buying a watch list. That is the report from the Punch. Let's now take a look at the Vanguard. The lead story on the Vanguard this morning says governors out to ruin 2023 polls by choking opposition, says IPAC. Governors preventing opposition from selling their manifestos in the states, IPAC chair alleges. INEC, police, EFCC, ICPC move against money politics. INEC to sign MOU with road marine transport unions today. Hot official sabotage of elections. Falana urges security agencies, says anti-democratic policies compromising our polls. That is the report we have from Vanguard this morning. Let's now take a look at The Nation. Workers to get better deal, Tinubu assures NLC TUC. Ex-Lagos governor presents plans to union leaders. Labour gives APC candidate charter of demands. That is the report we have on The Nation. And now to conclude the first part of the show, let's look at The Guardian. Electricity, APC failed on 40,000 megawatts. Promise, rations 4,000 megawatts. Stakeholders insist Buhari failed in sector despite 1.7 billion naira intervention, $3 billion loans. Nigerians paying for darkness, says okay. Amadi, sector worst in last 7 years. Thank you for staying tuned. We crave your indulgence to do the same for the second part of the show. I'll be back your way again 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. My name is Tion Joseph. Do have a great day.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Good morning and welcome to the breakfast segment of Inside Nigeria, and it's reaching you on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ugogo, and it's my pleasure to be hosting you on today's edition of the program. I'm having a virtual guest today, and he's an in-house analyst, Paul Wadima. Paul, it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Paul, are you hearing me? It's a pleasure to have you on today's program. Yeah, as usual on the program, we are going to be reviewing and discussing some major front page news headlines. Paul, it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Good
I'm
morning.
hearing you.
Okay, good morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We have some papers.
Can you hear me?
About Nigeria's most influential newspaper. We have Leadership, we have The Punch, the Vanguard newspaper, The Guardian, The Nation, and This Day newspaper. And as usual, we are flagging up with Leadership. Leadership news headline says 2023 polls, INEC, EFCC, police orders move against vote buying. Leadership newspaper. 2023 polls, INEC, EFCC, police orders move against vote buying. PMB has assured me of free, fair elections, Atiku. My administration will be worker-friendly, Tinubu. Okupe's conviction attempt to implicate me, says Obi. I'll take the leading story once again. 2023 polls, INEC, EFCC, police orders move against vote buying. PMB has assured me of free, fair elections, Atiku. My administration will be worker-friendly, Tinubu. Okupe's conviction attempt to implicate me, says Obi. This is the leading story on Leadership newspaper. For more on the stories, you can log on to the website www.leadership.ng to read more. And of course, there are other headline stories on the cover of Leadership. But before we proceed, before we discuss the leading story, the Punch newspaper also has similar stories on INEC. It says, rising attacks, vote buying threatening polls, INEC cries out. Rising attacks, vote buying threatening polls, INEC cries out. Riders, commission says violence may mar election, prevents presidential poll winner from emerging. Electoral body plans supplementary budget to replace destroyed buildings, equipment, orders. IG EFCC boss warn politicians against inducement. Survey puts 33 states on vote buying watch list. I'll take the leading story on the Punch once again. Rising attacks, vote buying threatening polls, INEC cries out. Commission says violence may mar election, prevent presidential poll winner from emerging. Electoral body plans supplementary budget to replace destroyed buildings, equipment, orders. IG EFCC boss warn politicians against inducement. Survey puts 33 states on vote buying watch list. That is the leading story on the Punch. For more on the stories, you can Log on to Punch website for more. And of course, Vanguard newspaper is also out with the same story. Vanguard Tuesday, December 20th, 2022. Governors out to ruin 2023 polls by choking opposition. Governors out to ruin 2023 polls by choking opposition. IPAC. Governors preventing opposition from selling their manifestos in the states. IPAC chair alleges. INEC, police, EFCC, ICPC move against money politics. INEC to sign MOU with road marine transport unions today. Hot official sabotage of elections. Falana urges security agencies. Says anti-democratic forces compromising our polls. Yes, Paul, Wadim, are you still there?
I'm here.
With INEC stories today, and it's all about vote buying and attacks that is threatening 2023 polls. Just a few days, about 60 days now to presidential election in February and 2023, and the everywhere looks shaky. What's your comment on that?
I think, like most Nigerians, it is very worrisome that vote buying has become a major threat to our democracy. And usually we used to think that vote buying takes place on the election day. But now the politicians have devised a new means. They are now buying votes even ahead of the elections. You know that many Nigerian politicians, they are out to make sure that our democracy does not work. They are out to make sure that the people's choice does not count. You know, recently, the Northern Elders Forum raised the alarm that many Northerners are losing their powers to vote buyers. There are people, politicians, although they did not name them, who have been going around parts of the country, especially in the north, paying for PVCs and collecting PVCs from people. In fact, according to the Northern Elders Forum, PVCs are being collected by politicians at the cost of 2,000 naira or less. This is how low and how desperate Nigerian politicians have become, that they have gone to the villages, and according to the spokesperson of Northern Elders Forum, Dr. Hakim Babahmed, they are mopping these PVCs, collecting it from women and vulnerable people in parts of the north, giving away, collecting it with 2,000 naira, less than 2,000 naira. So you can see how the politicians have sunk so low in their desperation to destroy our democracy, just for their own selfish interest. So therefore, it is a good thing that INEC, the police, the EFCC are doing everything possible, according to what they are saying, to stop vote buying. What they should do right now, you know, I said that vote buying in Nigeria, traditionally in recent time, used to occur on the election day. Now they are buying the votes, literally. Because if you look at what they are doing by going to buy the PVCs or collect the PVCs from millions of Nigerians, it means that they are buying the vote. And the people are still trying to wrap their heads round about it. What are they going to do with the PVCs they are collecting? Because already INEC told us that under the technology, under the beavers that is going to be used for this election, which is covered under the Electoral Act, it is virtually impossible for somebody to vote with another person's PVC.
Exactly. That is what I was going to put in.
Perhaps what they want to do by buying PVCs is that to stop people from coming out to vote, so that the more they mop up these millions of PVCs, they will disenfranchise people from voting. Maybe only those in their own stronghold will have PVCs to vote. They can go to the territories of their opponents and buy up all the PVCs. In that case, they were determined to disenfranchise millions of Nigerians. And that is not.
However, Mr. Paul, if I may intervene, buying up these PVCs at the end of the day, given the technology of the beavers, so how is it going to work if they buy up these PVCs? Will they also now lead the people to the polling units on that day to go and give them back their PVCs and ensure that they vote for their party?
My thinking is this: if the PVCs they are buying up, they cannot use it, which is not likely that they can use it. But what it means is that all these millions of people they are collecting their PVCs will not vote. And you know that is a technique that could be used to stop people from coming out to vote. Because if you collect 2 million PVCs from the areas where your opponent has strength, it means you have removed, let's say you were able to buy up 2 million PVCs from a particular area. It means that those votes that would have gone to your potential opponents will not be available. So you will have an advantage in the sense that you already have those votes, but you can't use it, but your opponents can't own it.
Yes.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
So that is the only way I can see the possibility of them using it. And that way is also wrong, because they will be disenfranchising millions of Nigerians. That calls to action for the security agencies to track those who have been buying these PVCs wherever they are and bring them to justice. Because what they are doing is a violation of the Electoral Act. So that is an area that the security agencies are expected to move in. Already, the Northern Elders Forum, I told you, had requested that the security agencies do something about it.
Yes.
To make sure that they stop them from further buying of PVCs, and as much as possible to return the PVCs they collected. Because some places they went to, according to Northern Elders Forum, they were deceiving the women that they will still return the PVCs back to them and perhaps give them more money. So that is the area we expect the security agencies to do something. Then the EFCC.
Perhaps there should be more mobilization and an awareness campaign to
absolutely
in order to guide against this. Now, I want to speak to the Vanguard's leading story that governors are to win 2023 polls by choking opposition, IPAC. And the writer said that governors are preventing opposition from selling their manifestos in the states.
Thank you. And that allegation by IPAC, I think it was made by IPAC. That allegation that governors are stifling the opposition. Was it made by the IPAC? I said the allegation is true.
Yes.
It is a threat. Let me give you a typical example.
Yes, because we've had stories, reports that some state governors would not want to lease out venue for use of the opposition.
It is part of the problem. Yes, I agreed. It's part of the problem. They are not releasing venues to their opponents to be able to hold rallies and campaign. And this is a violation of the Electoral Act.
There are reports too. There were reports too that even for billboards, for you to mount billboards and your
Yes.
flyers, you need to pay your hand. You need to pay some
Exactly.
amorphous amount of money.
What they have done in many states is to put outrageous amounts of money that have to go to their signage agencies for you to be allowed to put billboard in any state. In some states, you need to deposit, you need to pay millions of naira for you to be able to mount your billboard. And you can imagine what that means for struggling political parties, the new parties. Don't forget, we have 18 registered political parties that are participating in the election. Many of them, their candidates do not have the financial resources that some of these big parties that are in government have. So they do not have the resources to be able to match them campaign for campaign in the radio, in electronic, in the radio, television, and other advertisements. Yet they could not now even be able to put their posters. They could not be able to mount billboard. They could not be able to create awareness in their states or constituencies. This is bad. I think there's a need for INEC to invoke the sections of the Electoral Act that these governors are violating in the process of stopping their opponents from campaigning. There are some places, some states, they have even weaponized the process by making, passing a law that nobody can use their school premises to do campaign without depositing money. Okay, now these things are not good for our democracy. Democracy is an avenue for people to come up with their views on what they can do for the people. For example, democracy gives equal opportunity to all contestants in any election to canvass for votes. Any attempt to stifle the opposition is a violation of the fundamental rights of the politician or the campaigners, and everything must be done to ensure that these rights are not violated. That is why, to me, I think that INEC, the police, and the security agencies should ensure that all the venues in this country, all the stadiums in the country, all the public places are made available to political parties, whether they are in government or out of government, so that they can be able to canvass for votes. And the police will guarantee the security in those properties, so that Nigerians can hear from all shades of political views before casting their vote in 2023. So I think it's something that have to be done. I think President Muhammad Buhari had to wade in, because I understand that most of the states where these things happen are states controlled by the APC. Of course, I'm not exonerating the PDP, because it's also happening in PDP states, where they also making sure that APC people are not allowed to campaign freely. So it is important that something is done about it. But I know that the major victims ahead of this 2023 election have been the PDP. They have suffered it in the hands of APC control states, which is everywhere in the media. The Labour Party have suffered it everywhere, though in states controlled by PDP and in states controlled by APC. And all other parties are passing through the same problem. The inability of opposition parties to have access to venues is condemnable, and it must be addressed. President Muhammad Buhari has promised the world that he's going to ensure free and fair election, that he's going to ensure transparency in 2023 election. And if he must fulfill that pledge, he must start.
And he also told Nigerians to vote for the candidates of their choice.
Playing ground You say yes, but he has to provide level playing ground, because if you don't allow people to campaign, that's not a level playing ground. It means that the elections are being rigged even before the election. Okay, because if you stifle the opponents, if you stop them from campaigning, what you are doing is that you are stopping other people's views from being heard by the electorate so that they can make the right choice. What you are doing is that you are also disenfranchising the electorate, because by stopping them from listening to all shades of opinion before casting their vote, you are disenfranchising them. At the end of the day, they will be forced to make a choice that is not really what they would have done if they were given the opportunity to hear from all shades of political opinion. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Views there, Mr. Paul Wadima. We are going on a break. When we come back, we'll have so much discussion on the papers, remaining papers we have on our menu. So if you have some, go away, stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Yes, you're welcome back. As you can see, I'm flicking through today's national dailies. The program is Inside Nigeria, reaching you on Leadership Television. My name is Winnie Fredubebo, and I have a virtual guest today, Tuesday, December 20, 2022. And he's an in-house analyst, Paul Wadima. Paul, you're still there? Thank you once again for your presence. Hello. Well, we have another paper for discussion, and it's The Guardian. The Guardian's headline story says, electricity, APC failed on 40,000 megawatts promise, rations 4,000 megawatts. Electricity, APC failed on 40,000 megawatts promise, rations 4,000 megawatts. The bullet stakeholders insist Buhari failed in sector despite 1.7 billion naira intervention and $3 billion loans. Nigerians paying for darkness, says okay. Amadi sector worst in last 7 years. I'll take the cover story once again. Electricity, APC failed on 40,000 megawatts promise, rations 4,000 megawatts. Stakeholders insist Buhari failed in sector despite 1.7 billion naira intervention, $3 billion loans. Nigerians paying for darkness, says okay. And Amadi says sector worst in last 7 years. This is a development story, and obviously an investigative story done by the Guardian newspaper. For your thoughts?
Well,
the Guardian's leading story on electricity.
Yes. Of course, the Guardian is right. APC has failed in that. It's part of the numerous failures of the APC. in terms of the promises they made to Nigerians in 2015 and 2019. The power sector in Nigeria, the state of it is a disgrace. And I have to hail Nigerian business community and Nigerians in general that despite the poor power sector performance in Nigeria, that Nigerians somehow managed to be productive enough to become Africa's largest economy. Because actually, given the power sector performance of Nigeria, Nigeria is not supposed to be the largest economy in Africa. So how Nigerians were able to do it is a miracle. But it's a miracle that had occurred at a very huge cost. You can imagine how much Nigerians are spending today for this, just to run factories, just to run pure water manufacturing, just to run virtually anything. How much Nigerians spend to generate power individually. And the hope that was given to Nigerians in 2015 by the APC has been dashed 8 years, almost 8 years after. It's a very sad situation, and the situation is not helped by the kind of privatization that was done in the power sector, because I believe that it was poorly handled and that it is the reason why we are suffering what we are suffering. Because I believe that, in my thinking, if those that were that acquired the power sector, public power sector like NEPA, were able to manage it where they are good managers, we will not be where we are today. You can see how much government spent to keep on subsidizing them, keep on funding them. At the end of the day, what Nigerians are getting is darkness. And it is very shameful that a country like Nigeria, with over 200 million people, a lot of engineers, we cannot be able to generate up to 20,000 megawatt of electricity with all our trainings and knowledge. It's so sad. So APC, I agree with Guardian, APC fell woefully, but you cannot blame them alone. You have to also blame the PDP. We know the state of power under PDP, because PDP were also part of this degeneration of power sector in Nigeria.
Yes.
Over $16 billion was spent under PDP to generate electricity, and we ended up having absolutely zero generation. We're just managing, fluctuating between 2,000, 3,000 megawatt, 4,000 megawatts,
4,000.
to 4,000 to 5,000, and at the end of the day, they even when they generate, they can't transmit the power they have generated. It's only in Nigeria that things like this are happening. So I agree absolutely with the Guardian. Their report is apt. APC failed. They raise our hopes and hopes of other millions of Nigerians that they are going to do a lot more in power, better than PDP. But it's like this even got worse under them. The national grid was collapsing almost on a weekly basis under their watch. So at the end of the day, they were even a worse disaster than PDP in terms of power sector. That is the verdict. You can ask the average Nigerian in their homes and the average business people in Nigeria how they are surviving and managing to produce anything, whether in the productive sector or in the service sector. Most of the money that the organized private sector are making the profit they make, they spend most of the time on power, leaving little for further investment. So it's so sad. And we hope that in 2023, those who will emerge as leaders of this country will review the privatization process that was done under PDP and see what they can do to rejig it, to make it better.
Yes,
and more effective.
Paul, if I may chip in, my take is that it seems to this electricity issue in Nigeria seems to have defied all solutions, and it's supposed to be a Nigerian problem, which also require Nigerian solutions, because you see that people manning those that sector, they are Nigerians. You discover that grid collapses or you don't have electricity, it takes weeks.
Yeah, I understand. I understand
we don't have good hands. It takes weeks for them
yes,
to put
yeah,
it.
yeah. I agree with you. I understand they are Nigerians, but there are also other things that need to be done. There are some structural defects in our Nigerian power sector. The idea that every power that is generated has to be brought to the national grid need to be stopped. It needs to be reviewed in our laws so that we can diversify our power sector. For example, if you are in an area that has plenty of sunlight, like in the northern part of the country, you can go for solar power. If you are in areas that has areas where you have plenty of gas, you can go for gas as a source of energy. If you have places where you have dams, okay, your area is within the geographic area that covers Shiroro Dam, Kainji Dam, you go for hydropower. If you are in an area where you have wind, you can go for wind energy. Such a way that even states can be able to generate power to power their states without bothering about transmitting that power that is generated to the national grid. So what I think will be the solution is to give the states power to generate power and use in their states. That will help a lot for many states to be able to industrialize, meet their power needs, and at the end of the day, Nigeria will benefit as a whole. I think this idea of a unitary system of power sector should be stopped. It should be done away with. Let us do through federalism, using the power sector as one of the pegs that we can use to showcase through federalism to diversify our power sector so that various parts of the country can have different sources of power to meet their energy need. That's my take. And I think the next administration should look into that direction, among other things that must be done to improve the power sector.
All right, thank you. Still on that same guardian, we have two big photograph, Mambila Power Project, still dragging. And it also had another picture of a Giro transmission switch yard, which is underperforming. For that leading story.
Yes, it's a good one. It has to drag because we politicize everything in this country.
Yes.
Because each administration tried to do it in its own way. There is no continuity. Most of the things that are dragging the Mambila and other power sector entities that government invested huge amount of money is because of inconsistency. Government of Nigeria will award a contract to an organization. When that government leaves power, another government will award the same contract to another organization. This creates legal problem that you need to resolve before you move forward. So many of the things stopping Mambila and some of these power sector organization, stop entities from functioning. They are dragging for years. Look at it very well. If you investigate, you find out that the problem is because of leadership failure, inconsistency in policy, and awarding of contracts by different governments to different organizations. So this creates problem. And now you can't move forward until these legal issues are sorted out. So it's a lesson for all of us that when any new government comes on board, let it see the actions taken by the previous administration as part of the things it has to carry on with, without trying to change totally what is already on ground. That's one of the reasons that the Mambila is dragging, and or many others like that. Inconsistency of policy, inconsistency of agenda, and indecision of our leaders.
Thank you so much for your thoughts there, and it's a pleasure to have you on today's program, Paul Wadima. I look forward to having you more, seeing you more on the program. Well, viewers, this is what we call it today on today's Inside Nigeria. Don't forget, same time, same tomorrow is another date. I remain Winifred. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.